Please. Please. Please, I can't breathe. So, this video is of an incident that occurred in Minneapolis this past yesterday, Monday, May 25th, 2020. It's an unarmed black man who's being detained by police officers. And as you heard there, if you could hear it, he's saying, "I cannot breathe." According to the police report, they were called for a forgery that was taking place. And this is after they had wrestled the man down. Please, man. Please, somebody. So there you can see that at least 3 officers are in view. One standing off, little rather chubby Asian, and a white guy with his knee on the black guy's neck. And I can tell you from doing this position as a martial arts and MMA Jiu-Jitsu coach that with his hips elevated in the air, he's driving a lot more weight down this guy's neck than's necessary for sure.
Well, you got him down, man. Let him breathe, at least, man.
I can breathe.
And there was a better view of it there, of course.
I've been trying to hear about it.
There it is. There again, he's smashing him down, and people are being concerned, rightfully so, that this guy's saying he can't breathe. I mean, how many times have we seen this in the past, especially if you've been around for a while, where officers have someone down, detained, the suspect is saying, "I can't breathe," the police officers ignore it, and then tragedy occurs afterwards. This is no different.
So you gotta breathe a little bit more. Neck, man. One of my homies died with the backbone.
Now, in this video, if you look at the officer's arms, how skinny they are, his bicep and tricep area are literally thin as, if not thinner than, his forearms. And I'll talk about this more later of why this is important.
Relax.
Man, I can't breathe my face. Just get up.
What do you want?
I can't breathe. Please, the knee in my neck. I can't breathe shit.
What do you want? The officer says, "What do you want?" Isn't that ridiculous? Like, what do you want? The guy's saying he can't breathe. What do you want? Look at the way his posture, the way his hands are. They're either in his pockets or just kind of resting on his thighs, very nonchalantly, very non-caring.
Bro, get up, get in the car, man.
I will.
Get up, get in the car.
I can't move.
Get up and get in the car. You are sitting on the man's neck. You have your knee pressed into the side of his neck, and I believe the other one's on his back. It may be on the ground, but you're telling him to get up and get in the car. I would like to hold this officer down by his head with my knee on his neck and see if he could get up and get in the car.
I've been waiting the whole time. Get up and get in the car.
Mama.
Get up and get in the car right.
I can't.
Get y'all the opportunity to get in, bro. I told you can't win.
My knee.
You can't win, man.
You can't win. Very professional police officer. Very good communications here with the suspect. He's taking pleasure in the fact that he has dominance over this guy. This is verbal cueing of a male peacocking to its greatest extent. You can't win. He's got him down in a vulnerable position. He's taking pleasure in this. He's gloating and gleefully kind of taunting the guy. Get up, get in the car. You can't win. This is a problem.
I'm through.
I know you didn't, man, but you didn't listen.
That's the movie.
He didn't listen. So now it's time to punish him. Rather than do his job, he's going to punish him because he didn't listen.
My stomach hurts. My neck hurts. Everything hurts. There's some water or something. Please. Please. I can't breathe all the time. Shut up. They will kill me. They will kill me, man.
Bro, with your feet on his neck, man, you get off the
His nose is bleeding. Like, come on now.
If you've never had anybody hold you down on concrete and put their knee in your neck, this is an exquisite pain that you can't appreciate unless you've actually had it. We teach this in our gym. We teach this as a combative tactics thing. And I literally say, if you feel that you really have to punish your opponent, you really want to be a jerk, and I'm using the nice language here, this is when you can start really putting your knee into somebody. But even then, we're talking about a temporary thing. We're not talking about holding them down for a long period of time. This guy, with all of his gear on, it's hard to tell by how tall he may or may not be. He is skinny, but that gear weighs a lot. Your bulletproof vest and so on. He may be 190, 200 pounds with all that gear, and he's pinpointing that pressure right into the guy's neck. Now, again, when you're talking about pressure per square inch, he's really focusing a lot of weight right in this guy's neck. Sometimes hitting the carotid, the vertebrae of the neck, the spinal cord, the windpipe. Everything's going to be pressurized over time against the hard surface of the concrete.
Right there with his feet on his neck.
Look at his nose.
You see your knee in his neck. You got your feet right on his neck. He ain't even resisting the rest.
I cannot breathe.
You just a grown, you're a tough guy. You're a tough guy, huh? You're tough.
Yeah, you're hearing citizens talk about the police officer being a tough guy, because that's the nature of what he's exhibiting. He's showing what a tough guy he is. He's got at least 2 other officers there, but we find out later there's actually a third. So there's 4 officers there to detain this guy. Okay, a little skinny cop has 3 other officers to back him up while he's grinding his knee into this guy's neck. So yeah, he's definitely exhibiting tough guy culture.
He's not even resisting the rest, bro.
His whole nose is bleeding.
Follow him.
Bro, but why you just sit there? He ain't doing nothing now. Put him in the car.
How long y'all gotta hold him down?
Why would you do drugs, kids?
It ain't about drugs, bro. Y'all understand that?
Y'all gotta put y'all right.
He is human, bro.
His nose is
But I'm saying you
bleeding.
can put him in the car. That's a
We
bum
tried
ass
that for
shit.
10 minutes.
That's a bum ass shit, bro. That's a.
They said they tried for 10 minutes to put him in a car. 10 minutes. Okay, so these officers we find out later have body cams. I would like to see if, in fact, for 10 minutes you were trying to get him in a car. I would say that's an extreme exaggeration. They may have been there on the scene 10 minutes total. By the time they got the guy, wrestled him down, detained him, whatever, and so on. Maybe he fought and could not get him easily into the car. But you've got 4 police officers there. 4. And you're telling me you couldn't get him in a car. This, and if that's the case, this is another fine example of how poorly our police officers are trained.
Bum ass shit, bro. Y'all know that. You don't gotta sit there with your knee on his neck, bro. Bro, he ain't fine, bro. You circulate like in a jiu-jitsu move, bro. You trapped in his breathing right there, bro. Like, you don't think that what it is, bro? You don't think nobody understands that shit?
So the guy who's talking about a jiu-jitsu move, he knows a little bit about jiu-jitsu. He talks later here about training himself at a jiu-jitsu academy.
Right there, bro. I trained at the academy, bro. That's some bullshit, bro. Right, that's bullshit, bro. That's bullshit, bro. You fucking stopping his breathing right there, bro.
Okay, stop.
So here we have a citizen, but citizens don't matter because you are not an authority. The almighty police are the authority. This guy's telling him, hey, I train jiu-jitsu. You're cutting off his breath or his blood or whatever. At this angle, it's more likely he's cutting off more of a blood supply than he is breath. But still, yet, the guy understands enough to understand that you're choking this guy. You are cutting off some vitals going to his brain. But of course, police aren't going to listen.
He's talking, bro, but you can get him off the ground. You being a bum right now. You can get him off the ground, bro. You can get him off the ground. You being a bum right now. He enjoying that. He enjoying that shit. He enjoying.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong at all. He is definitely enjoying that. You can tell by, the body language and the smug posturing that this police officer is taking great pleasure in what he's doing to this guy.
That shit. He a fucking bum, bro. He enjoying that shit right now, bro. You could have fucking put him in the car by now, bro. He's not resisting arrest or...
Yep. He's exactly right. And let's talk again about the guy's skinny arms. I said we come back to that. And that is precisely why he is enjoying this. He does not have physical superiority over most people. So what probably happened if the police footage come out, I would venture to guess, 2, 3, 4 of the officers wrestled this guy down. Then he was the one able to get his knee up in a position to hold him. And he's going to take every opportunity now to show what a big man he is and use his police authority. This is pretty common with people of, you know, less negligible statures, physical statures. You don't have the physical or technical ability to do this. So now once you finally got a position of advantage, you're going to take full use of it and enjoy it.
You enjoying it. Look at you. Your body language explains it. You fucking bum.
Bro, get the fuck off of here.
It's the whites. They love
What?
them.
No, I already know that, bro. I trained with half of these bum ass.
She says it's the whites. And I would love to argue for my fellow white boys. But man, when you see stuff like this, you can't help but kind of say, maybe they've got a point, you know. Picture says 1,000 words. How much does video tell, you know?
Who's at the academy, bro? You know that's bogus right now, bro. You know it's bogus. You can't even look at me like a man because you a bum, bro. He's not even resisting arrest right now, bro.
His nose is bleeding.
You fucking stopping his breathing right now, bro. You think that's cool? You think that's cool
really
though,
not.
right? What's your oh man, what's your badge number, bro? You think that's cool right now, bro?
You'll call police on another.
And this other officer standing idly by isn't concerned at all. And that's a problem as well. You know, and I said earlier that, you know, it's hard to judge. It's hard to say that it's not whites versus blacks, whatever, but police have a hard job for sure, which is why they need to have better training. And these police officers definitely have not had it, or they just don't care.
You think that's cool though, bro? You're a bum, bro. You're a bum for that. You're a bum for that, bro. You getting mad. You just sitting there stopping his breathing right now.
Look at
He's about to go out right now, bro.
Look at him.
At this point, this guy's unresponsive. He has been pinned down here. We're talking almost 6 minutes into the video, and it's until how long this guy's had his knee on this guy's neck before the video even started that we're watching. And now he's unresponsive, okay? And somebody should be concerned. Like, the citizens are concerned, but the police are not.
Get off of him now.
What is wrong with y'all?
What the fuck?
So the people are being concerned. Like, what are you doing here? Man, this dude is not responsive. And they're starting to come towards him. And the officer that has his knee on the neck is grabbing out his mace to threaten anybody to come near him.
He got mace. He got mace. He cannot breathe. Get over here. No, first of all.
Bro, look, bro, you can check on him. He's not responsive right now. He's not responsive
Look at him.
right now.
So even they're saying he's not responsive. You have several citizens standing around saying, dude, he's not responsive. What are you doing? They don't care because they're the authority.
He's not responsive right now. He's not responsive right now. He's not responsive right now, bro. No, bro, look at him. He's not responsive right now, bro.
Check for a pulse.
Bro, are you serious? You gonna just let him sit there with that on
Let
his
me
neck,
see a
bro?
pulse.
Is he breathing right now? Check his pulse.
Have this conversation.
Check his pulse. Check his pulse, Tal. Tal, check his pulse. Tal, check his pulse, bro.
Look at this dude.
Bro, check his pulse, bro. You bogus, bro.
Don't do
You
drugs,
bogus.
guys.
Don't do drugs, bro. What is that?
Don't do drugs. That's his response. The lack of concern of these officers is extremely appalling and frightening. Minneapolis is a major city. This is not, these aren't some podunk country bumpkin police officers. These are major city police officers, which means that their training had to be done at a higher level academy, normally anyway. He won't even show the slightest bit of concern to this guy. That's a problem. You've got 2 other officers there, aside from Chow, that don't seem to be caring either, much less the guy that's got his knee on his neck. somebody should be worried this guy's not moving. He's not talking. They wanted him in the car. Why aren't you even trying to get him in the car? Why are you still on his neck?
What do you think that is? You call what he doing okay? Get back. You call what he doing okay? You call what you doing? You call what he doing okay, bro? You're firefighter.
Yes, I am from Minneapolis.
Okay, bro, you.
So, the lady you just saw there, if you didn't catch it, she's a firefighter. She's a first responder. Firefighters, most of them are also EMTs and sometimes even paramedics. They are trained as first responders to know when somebody is under duress and maybe has a life-threatening condition and injury. She's recognizing that this guy has got problems. He's not responsive. Check his pulse. No one's listening.
You think that's okay? Check his pulse.
Check his right.
Child, check his pulse.
Get back in the
Check. The man ain't moved yet, bro. The man ain't moved yet, bro.
Where?
Minneapolis.
Okay.
Bro, you're a bum, bro. You're a bum, bro. You're definitely a bum, bro.
Tell me what it is. Tell me what his pulse is right now.
Check the pulse. Bro, he has not moved not one time.
He's off track or no?
But yeah, bro, go back in the store, bro. You don't understand,
No,
bro.
I'm the reason.
Okay, that's cool. Go back in the store, bro. He's not fucking moving.
So another guy comes out and is concerned. He works at the store there behind them, and he's very concerned about what's going on. And I'm not going to play it the whole entire thing because there's a whole lot of conversing back and forth. You can go watch the video if you like. This is absolutely disgusting. And when the paramedics show up, they check his pulse and they pull him into the stretcher, the gurney, and he's a limp ragdoll because he's unconscious, of course. And you find out later that unfortunately, this man's name was George Floyd, and he died at the hospital. What they've probably done is cut the blood from his brain sufficiently that he did not come back, which is what happens in a choke a lot of times. You know, when you do chokes in jiu-jitsu, the person can go unconscious and we let go and we go through some resuscitation techniques and they come back. But the longer the brain is cut out from the blood is cut out from the brain, the longer that happens, the less likely it is this person's going to come back. And if they do come back, that's where, you know, you've got vegetables, so you have brain injuries and so on. And man, there's so much to digest from this. It's really, really a sad, sad story that we're still at this point, 2020. We've had stuff go like this for so long that it's really ridiculous that this is still how some police will respond. Now, I have a lot of police friends. I've trained a lot of police over the years, and I know there's some very good officers out there. But there's also a lot of pieces of shit. There's a lot of officers out there that don't need that badge. It's the same thing with the military. Unfortunately, when you give power to certain people, they can't handle it. They don't know how to use that power properly. And this is partially an example of that. I believe this guy also, the one has his knee on his neck. It's just poor training. It's insecurities. It's physically negligible compared to a lot of people. So he's definitely asserting some authority and some power. You can tell by the way he reacts when somebody starts coming at them. Extremely unfortunate incident here, extremely. And, you know, he repeated several times that he can't breathe. They didn't care. They ignored it. The body language of the guy is appalling. He very much is very arrogant in his position of power. He has people around him, including a firefighter, who says, I'm a first responder. You need to check his pulse. Check his pulse. She's frantically. And this goes on for a while before even the EMTs ever show up. Number one, police are not trained properly at all, especially not for what most SOPs dictate they do when they lay hands on an individual. A lot of departments don't want you pulling out your mace, pulling out your stun guns and so on. Things that might incapacitate someone a little bit easier, but they view them as unnecessary. And I understand that. But these officers need to have good training. They need to be physically trained to understand how to apprehend somebody, how to get another human being under control. Okay? I know that there are police programs out there, like LAPD did one with the Machado brothers, for example. It was very, very effective in taking 2 officers, being able to detain him and be able to maneuver him around. So it's really not an excuse for it. The frustrating part for me as an instructor is I've run into so many officers over the years that don't want to train. They'll make up every excuse in the book to not seek extra training. You can't give all the necessary training in the academy, and I understand that. However, some academies have still provided really piss-poor method of training. It could definitely be improved with the proper instructors. I could go on that alone. But officers who are doing this job need to seek the training outside of the academy. It is your job. It is your responsibility to be able to do your job effectively. Just like learning to use a handgun properly and better. The training you get in the military, for example, is minimalistic in every aspect. You go to boot camp, you go to your advanced training, your MOS training. If you're 11 Bravo, you go to your basic infantry, you go to your advanced infantry. And then you got to do a lot of OJT, on the job training. But if you're really high speed, you really care about your job, you seek training outside of what the military even gives you. That's why so many people who are serious with their jobs, they study and train jiu-jitsu on a regular basis outside of what the military provides. Police officers need to do that too. Some do, but not nearly enough, right? And this is a problem. This guy doesn't even understand what he's doing to the suspect. He has no clue of what it means to have your knee in someone's neck. Has anyone ever done this to him for an extended period of time? I bet they haven't. This isn't just an ego issue. Ego is definitely in play, but it's also a very technical lack of understanding. If these guys had had the proper training, they could understand how to detain someone better. They could also understand that what you're doing is extremely dangerous. They could understand the repercussions of that. Now, you can look this up, and I'll post the link down below in the video to the actual video and article. But the 4 officers that were on the scene, they were fired. They were first just suspended, and then they were fired. And there's a lot of protests going on, and rightly so. Man, people want these people's heads. Police need to understand that tensions are growing and that we expect you to do your job properly. We expect you to have a high level of skill and high level of professionalism. That's what you're paid for. That's what you signed on the dotted line for. There are so many gyms and academies out there that give discounts and even free training to police officers if they'll seek it out. But far too many have their egos involved and won't seek it out. We had one officer, they were a senior officer, and they broke it down. Now, I've heard it multiple places, multiple times other places, but they said that most of these guys won't come and train because their egos won't allow it. They think that if a normal citizen, if they come into a jiu-jitsu class and a normal citizen chokes them out, they're going to lose face as far as being a police officer. They're going to lose that respect. That is a bullshit excuse. And you guys got to get over it. If any police officers are listening to this, you got to get rid of that ego. You need to take your job seriously and get into an academy to where you can actually learn this highly evolved, highly advanced method of dealing with another human being. You're living in one of the most evolved times of martial arts has ever been, and you're not taking advantage of it. It should be mandatory in every department. Every department should have a jiu-jitsu instructor on hand and be training in their academies. And if not, they should be trying to get them training outside of the academy. They should be giving them a stipend to seek the training on their own. People's safety and lives are on the line, obviously. And it's not considered something that's serious enough. Over the years, I've met some old timers, especially, that, you know, their response is when you talk to them about training is, my gun is good enough. And there's so many situations where you're not going to be able to use your gun. You can't get to it and whatever. And, you know, these are people's kids, spouses, family members of all types. And it's your job as a police officer to be very effective at what you've signed on, what you've swore to do. It's your job to be as effective as possible. Why would you not want to go and train and learn what is out there? It's available. Jiu-jitsu is so widespread, it's literally everywhere now. Everywhere. So anyway, it's a real shame this had to happen. It's a real shame that these mistakes are still being made. Again, if you're an officer, find a good jiu-jitsu group to go out there and train with. So anyway, there it is.